Hi guys.
Hi,
Hi
Rhea.
guys.
So how you guys are doing today?
We're good. We're fine.
So are you ready for our another segment of virtual talk?
Yes,
So
Yes,
that's
last time we
we're
correct.
already had
express.
our virtual talk, right? We had our virtual
We have
talk
double.
about the WH of journalism, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So can you share me about your experiences first, Kuya Deo, about your former virtual talk?
Okay. Okay. So last time we discussed about principles and practices of good journalism. Yun. And how to apply in the field.
Yes.
Yes.
So how about you, Miss Noveline? How's your
So,
virtual talk?
I think it's really kind of realization for me to get involved myself in new things because I'm not familiar with journalism, to be honest with you. And that virtual talk give me an opportunity to explore more in journalism because we talk about what is journalism and who is journalist. We just focus on the meaning, but what is really journalism to us, citizen of this country, di ba? So I think the criticism of Sir Soberano really helps us to be more expressive with our opinions about the journalism. That's all for me. How about you, Rhea? What is your
Yeah, I
experience in
agree
the...
with you. I agree with you that our first experience of virtual talk about the basics, the WH of journalism, gave us a lot of information, a lot of knowledge about what journalism really is. It's not about the shallow meaning of journalism. It gave us the cycle, the deeper meaning. We even tackled about journalists being the watchdog of our society. So I think our my experience about my former virtual talk is really fruitful. So now, guys, are you guys ready about our virtual talk today?
I think we're ready for part two.
Yeah. So
Yes.
let's get
I
it
also agree.
on. So
That's
yeah. So as we all know, our here are our goals for today. So first, we will be discussing the topic that we have read before calling each other here, and then the violations, our personal insights, and lastly, we will be giving our conclusion at the end of our discussion. So now, I think you are all aware about the topic because we already chose this topic before having this discussion, right? So, to remind you guys, our topic is the removal of the former chairman of the National Union of Journalists of the Philippines, or NUJP, who is Mr. Jose Torres Jr. So, he is allegedly solicited money for his own personal use, which I think it is very unprofessional, right? It is very unethical. So we will be proceeding to the violation. So according to the article, he violated Article 5 and Article 11 of the Code of Ethics in Journalism. So Article 5 states that I shall not let personal motives or interest influence me in the performance of my duties, nor shall I accept or offer any present, gift, or other considerations of a nature that may cast doubt on my professional integrity. Next, the Article 9 states that I shall conduct myself in public or while performing my duties as journalist in such manner as to maintain the dignity of my profession. When in doubt, decency should be my watchword. So, according to the article, these two were the um, violated code of ethics of Mr. Torres. So now, let us proceed to our personal insights. So we will be discussing about these more here. So I will be
okay.
talking first, right? Is it okay?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
Proceed.
I think as a professional, not only being a journalist, in general, we should know that soliciting money for our own use while we are doing our job is really unprofessional, right?
Yes, I
Yes.
agree. Agree.
Yeah. So because we should protect our own dignity as a professional, doing such things, committing such act will highly affect our professionalism, right? Do you agree with that?
Same here, I agree.
So how about you, Mr. Deo? What do you think? What are your personal insights about our topic today?
Okay. Okay, thank you. So, before I share my insights, so the use of solicitation of funds for personal gain or fulfillment of vested interest is also known as cash in question affair, or also known as the brown envelope journalism. So my focus will be based towards the effect of the practice in the society. According to the study of Ahmed et al., titled The Implication of Ethical and Social Responsibility in Journalism based in Nigeria, they listed many effects or impact of the incident to the society. So first, so it affects our democracy. The well-being of our democracy suffer because the freedom of speech is compromised because some stories are being censored or being shut down, while other stories are being given um, or are favored in coverage. And the second impact will be about the image of journalism is affected because the public loses interest or loses confidence in our journalism because the reports are biased or one-sided. And last but not the least is about the influence of businesses and politics. Sometimes journalists are being used as pawns by these influential people or big businesses. So that's all for my insight.
I agree with you about the brown envelope journalism. I think that's the very specific word to describe our topic today about soliciting money, right? Because brown envelope is somehow describes or somehow portrays about the money, the giving of money or asking of money. So I think Miss Novelin will um, share her insights about our topic today.
So yeah, hearing the insight of Kuya Deo, it's really relevant in today's issue, di ba? Kasi like our discussion on our virtual talk episode 1, journalism is about gathering, sorry about that. Gathering and reporting the news and information to public interest that covers everything, di ba? So, um we should value the core of ethics, di ba? Like being honest, being true to what you are. Wait. So ayun, going back. Sorry about that. So it is important to uh, give a standard and quality to your work. Kasi as a journalist, you are committed to act like a journalism. So going back to the issue of Mr. Torres, uh, it is stated that the National Union of Journalists of the Philippines announced that he was removed in the he was ano he was a former chairman, no, na ni-remove sa kanyang pwesto, no, kasi he was violated the Article 5 and Article 11. Tama ba ko? Oo, tama ako.
Yes, you are right.
Yun. So kasi in the field of journalism, we should encompasses the power to inform and educate the citizen. So it's really important that we should value this honesty, because the society deserves the truth, di ba? So as a journalism, we should uh, have discipline of verification. So we have this responsibility na kailangan totoo yung makakalabas, na kailangan walang bahid ng kahit anong issue yung pangalan mo. So this issue of Mr. Torres is related to the um three journalists wait who was reported na kumuha ng solicitation galing sa government. So, it is related to the statement of Kuya Deo about the politics versus the journalism. Na according to the Philippine Daily Inquirer, sabi nila may tatlong broadcast journalist na nakatanggap ng bayad mula sa National Agri-Business Corp. Yung yung NABCOR ay isang ahensya sa ilalim ng Department of Agriculture na na nagbigay ng pera kay Erwin Tulfo ng TV5, Carmela Del Prado ng GMA7. At yung pangatlong journalist ay hindi minention pero lahat sila ay nakatanggap ng 200,000 na pera galing sa government. So it's really unethical na yung trabaho mo ay bilang isang journalist ay nabahiran ng pagiging irresponsible. Kasi they said that um wait, parang ang layo ko na. Pero ito pero I think it's related kasi na-mention ni Kuya Deo yung sa brown envelope, right?
Yes, it's related naman because as
Oo.
Kuya Teo mentioned, politics influence journalism.
Kasi it's more concerned about the ethical aspect of what it seems has become a standard practice of media. Kasi sabi nga nila, ang advertisement ay hindi dapat about sa politics. So dapat ang media mag-i-stick lang sa advertisement na good for the eye of people, na hindi siya yung advertisement na ibibigay ng media ay hindi related sa politics. Kasi ang nangyayari, yung independence mo bilang isang basic journalist nawawala. Yung value mo as
Mm,
independence nawawala. 'Di ba? Kasi
I
for
agree.
journalists to be credible and effective in the role of society as a watchdog, they have to be independent, and that include from the influence of publication or network advertisers. Yun pa lang matitest na yung uh, pagiging doon pa lang matitest na yung kung paano mo i-value yung independence as a journalism. Kasi as a journalist report, it is important that it benefit the interest of the people. Kasi noong panahon pa ni Ferdinand Marcos, binabayaran na talaga yung mga media. So, i-continue pa ba natin yung ganong era? Kasi nung panahon ni Ferdinand Marcos, sabi nga nila, ang mga media ay binabayaran para manahimik. Kasi
Yes.
kung hindi sila mananahimik, buhay nila yung kapalit. Which is related to Mr. Torres case na para sa benefit lang nila yung nangyayari. How about
Yeah,
you,
I
Rhea?
agree with. Yeah, your last statement about the pananahimik of the media, they are being paid to be silent. Like what Mr. Deo said, the freedom of speech of the journalist is being, um, what do you call this? Parang hindi nabibigay sa kanila yung freedom of speech nila dahil nga doon to remain silent.
Yes.
They're, yeah, Mr.
Some
Deo.
some stories are being silenced or being censored because they are being paid by those having great influence, or maybe they want to silence the story because they don't want to publish it, or it will ruin their reputation na din. So kaya rampant pa din yung practice na yun.
Yeah, it's still evident today, the practice of paid journalism, and it affects the image of journalism, as Mr. Deo said. It affects the image of journalism by producing biased reports, like may kinikilingan nga, ganun. So, how about
Yun,
you, Miss Noveline?
for me kasi yung professionalism and journalistic code of ethics is very important as a journalist to practice. Kasi I can say that those people who paid um, the journalist is the bad people. Kasi ayaw nilang ilabas kung ano yung baho na meron sila eh. 'Di ba? Like nung nangyari sa Rappler, it is um it is I think this issue was 2012. So the charge against Rappler are clearly meant to intimidate and threaten the website. So kasi naglabas ang Rappler ng isang balita about sa government na ang government ay kumilos para hindi ito makalabas, which is in-intimidate nila yung Rappler para hindi sila makapagsalita, which is related to what Ferdinand Marcos did to the media. And nowadays, we can see how Duterte treats the media. 'Di ba? Kasi
Yes.
if they were good people, they would not give money to the journalist to write a story, 'di ba? Kasi as a journalist, if if you love your job, you think about kung ano yung tama, kung ano yung dapat gawin as a journalist, 'di ba? You don't affect your name sa mga corrupt people, 'di ba? Kasi deserve ng tao malaman yung totoo, and deserve mo as a journalist na um, malinis yung pangalan mo, 'di ba? Rhea,
Yes.
how about you?
Yeah, I agree with you that those who are paying the journalists are bad people, but we can also say that those journalists that are being paid are good people, right? Because they are still accepting the money uh, coming from the bad people. So I think perhaps they are also bad people because they are using their jobs for their own. Yeah, I think they are using their jobs for their own sake. As a professional, you should not like, what do you call this? Use your job for money because you are already earning from your job, 'di ba? So I think yes, I agree
Kaya
with you.
sabi din ni Kuya Deo kanina, the democracy is nawawala na sa freedom
Yes.
of freedom of speech ng mga media. Kasi sabi nga nila kapag nag-journalist ka, kadikit ng trabaho mo is yung maging lapitin ka ng danger, 'di ba?
Mm.
How about you, Kuya Deo? What is your insight about the government versus the the journalism, because you mentioned that uh, politics and media is really relevant in today's issues.
Okay. I think there needs to be a balance in the reporting of news, and we should not be focusing on just one source. We
Yes.
must find other perspective so that our story is complete.
Yes.
Ayun.
As a good journalist, we must know how to filter information, and we must know where to find supporting sources that are legitimate, right? So do you have guys,
Reliable.
yeah, reliable.
Reliable.
So do you have something more to say, guys, about our topic, or we can now proceed?
I think let's proceed to the kasi mainit na eh, nagkakainitan na tayo. So
Okay.
let's proceed to the conclusion.
Okay.
Okay.
So for our conclusion, so are we starting first? Okay, is it okay with you guys?
Yes,
It's
of course.
So I think after our discussion, I think it is very important to maintain professionalism, not only as a journalist, but as becoming future teachers, right? So professionalism is very important. Though I am not against soliciting money, but at least do it without using our job, like soliciting money while we are at our work. We are using our job just to gain money. Yeah. So I think we can solicit money by leaving our job behind. Like we will not use our job just to gain money. Do you agree with that, Noveline?
Yes, I really agree to your statement that we should take good care of our image too, 'di ba? Like yung we should practice the value. Wag nating isipin na value lang naman 'yon, ganyan. Kahit kasi let's say for example, bakit nga nagawa ng mga journalist na kumuha ng solicit sa mga taong ito? It is because of the money na let's say for example, hindi nabibigyan ng sapat na sahod ang mga journalism o sapat na pansin ang mga journalism. Kaya nila nagagawa yun, it because of the money. Kasi kailangan din nila. Pero
Yes.
that people who get the money for their own benefit is really don't value their professionalism. Kasi kahit din ng mga sa mga movies, 'di ba? Makikita mo na minsan ganun na yung tingin sa mga journalism. So, I think it is important to really um, it's really important to give attention to the values kasi um, it helps you as a pub it helps you in your public figure eh. Kasi it is a form of gratification in order to maintain your objective as a journalist as a journalism. So for me, I think it is great that we discuss about this because it is important to have a democracy in journalists, and journalism is quite distinct because they are not free to express themselves. So it is important that I really love that we discuss about this politics versus the journalism and the freedom of expression because it's really relevant in today's issue. For me, since we discuss about the ethical framework of journalism, lagi na lang siguro nating isipin na we should practice honesty and being trustworthy kasi kadikit ng pangalan natin yung pag-iingat natin sa ating dignidad. Kahit anong professionalism as you mentioned, 'di ba, Rhea, na we should think about ourselves also, our names. Kasi kahihiyan natin 'yun bilang tao. 'Yun lang. For me, that's all for me. And it's really a fruitful discussion and I really enjoy it, guys.
So,
That's all for me. How
anyways,
about Kuya Deo?
okay, thank you. So, just to wrap up now. So, for me, I think kung sponsorship, I think it's okay lang kung sponsorship and walang um, naka-anchor na interest na third party, ganun. Pero yung brown envelope journalism, kailangan talagang mag-stop or we should really stop brown envelope journalism. So I think yung pwede kong may suggest is the public or tayo, we should acknowledge independent journalism or yung news report from other sources. Kasi kailangan maraming opinions na lumabas para yung mga journalist natin, they stick to the practice. So, yun yung isang solution, I think. that can stop or may stop um, brown envelope journalism. So that's all for my for my opinion. I think. So I give the floor to you to ano Rachel.
Yeah, thank you guys for sharing your conclusions about our topic today. And I think it is time, if you have nothing more to say about our discussion, I think it's time to say goodbye, to end our discussion, because it is very a fruitful discussion. And I am happy, I am happy that we've discussed this topic, and I am happy that you are my members, my group mates about this topic. So I think that's all, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Sorry, ang daldal ko.